Welcome to Nkositalkshows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Slotted. My name is Nkositalkshows. I'm the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Nkositalkshows. So over to you, Amanda. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Amanda Cottrell. Good morning from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm the founder of Art Mindfulness Creativity. I am an author, a teacher, and an illustrator.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Carolanne, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, and good afternoon. This from London, UK. And as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience a free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. So I'm Carolanne, the writing facilitator, unlocking the writer within.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carolanne. So our topic today is, what do you do when you hit the wall? My daughter, she's disturbing me. What do you do when you hit the wall? Carolanne, could you please explain our topic? What does it mean?
Yeah, literally, figuratively, hitting a wall is when you get to a point where your body just goes, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. You've pushed yourself, you kept going, and then all of a sudden there's no energy. You just literally slump, and you have literally hit this fatigue where your body just goes, enough, just enough. And that is what it's meant by hitting a wall. And I think there's a lot of people right now who are hitting this wall. They've kept going all last year with their business, kept going. And I know someone the other week, he said, I've just hit a wall. I couldn't get up this morning. And then the following day, he just couldn't get out of bed. And so I think there are a lot of people who, so say they've kept going, they've been going on adrenaline and this, got to keep going. And they're pushing through. And now their body's going, enough.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carolanne. Anything you would like to add, Amanda, with regards to regarding to our topic? I actually agree with Carolanne. It's actually been a year since we actually went to lockdown. We keep going in and going out, and our body is not designed to do this. And even the companies, the economic, even the government that is giving funding, they are giving the loans and everything. People are not used to this. So anything you would like to add, Amanda, please?
Well, I think that people can hit the wall in like this year, especially with what's going on, but also in any year. I know as a teacher, I find that there's like certain times throughout the year where the kids will hit the wall and it's just like, we're done. We're not learning anything. They're all starting to argue and fight and not get along with each other. And we just like need a break from each other. And sometimes what you need to do is just find something that allows you to take that break, allows you to take a step back and relax, that allows you to just say, you know what, maybe I need to just relax and take a breather and do something for me and do that self-care that you feel that you probably need and have been neglecting for a while. So I know even in children, watching as a teacher for the last 15 years, that throughout every school year, there's always times throughout the year where the kids hit the wall. And we just need to take a step back and maybe do some more art or do some plays or just like relax and listen to a story. It can even happen throughout a day where you hit the wall. It's not necessarily like in a year or throughout a year. There's sometimes times just in the day where you hit a wall. I know that I sometimes go through the day and at 3 o'clock, I'm just like, I'm done. I could go to bed. Still have 20 more minutes to teach, but I'm exhausted. And so I think sometimes that's when we just need to be conscious of it and take a step back and take a breath and think of things that we can do to reset.
So much. Thank you so much, Amanda. I agree with you. Basically, sometimes you just have to, because there are some things that are designed for us, some things are not. But I think I know I can sit here on the other side and say you need to have hope. You need to have this, you need to have this. It's okay for me because I can spend an hour meditating, I can spend an hour doing this, but somebody who is not used to it, they're gonna find it harder. So how can they actually use their mindset? Because everything you do in life is a choice. So you can look at the situation and say, okay, I'm gonna feel sorry for myself, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do something about it. So Carolanne, what kind of a mindset do people need to have to be able to fight through this? Because there's so many things that people are fighting: financial problems, people are fighting mental health problems, so much. So what advice can you give someone who feels that I feel like I've hit the end, I don't know how to go on?
It's one of acceptance, accepting where you're at. And I totally get what Amanda's saying about in the teaching profession, how students just suddenly hit that wall and you can see it. But also as a teacher, and I remember many years ago, I hit that wall having kept my department going and through the school going through difficulties. And someone, I remember saying to me, said at one point, you know, be careful because you will hit the wall and you'll find it really hard to get back from. And yes, I was off ill for a year. At one point, physically, my body just went, and I couldn't move properly. But it wasn't just that year. Even when I went back to teaching that following year, it was still a hard slog to get back. And I think what you need to do is just accept. It took me a while to accept the situation I was in, which probably didn't help because I was constantly trying to keep going. It took me 6 weeks before I turned around and said, I can't send any more lesson plans in because, you know, I just can't keep up with that. And I'm thinking I was more worried about that than I was about my own health and where I was, that I could barely walk, you know? So it's stopping and accepting the situation where it's at and thinking about yourself, where you're at, and then have that mindset where you can get out of this. There are ways out. There are ways forward, but it might take time. And it's accepting that it could take time. And it could take longer if you don't start just relaxing, doing other things that are, as Amanda said, something more just art, just something that's a little bit more creative, and allowing yourself to be in the moment and be with what's there. Maybe just listening to some music, just sitting, focusing on your breathing, listening to your body. But I think acceptance is a big one. And that's the mindset that you need to have. And then just opening up from there and saying, well, what can I do? Who can I speak with? You know, what would support me? And I think another thing is actually looking at diet, at food, nutrition, because that's another big support that you could look at. Maybe what you're eating, or maybe some supplements that you could have that you're not having, that would help to boost your body and your energy, you know. So yeah, key I think is acceptance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carolanne. I think seeing the situation as it is, not lying to yourself, you just have to look at the situation and say, this is what it is now. If you're going through something, or you feel you're getting depressed, instead of being in denial, or finances are not going well, or business is not going well, or even work, think like right now, there's so many things things are going on. Just see the situation as Carolanne says, see things as they are. Then when you see things as they are, you will be able to actually connect with that situation and be able to actually work on the foundation. Where did you start it? How did you contribute? Did you contribute, or maybe you didn't? Maybe you just need to change the direction, or you just need to work on that foundation. So thank you so much. Amanda, I've been told I need to see things as they are, but things are not going well in my mind here. I'm going cuckoo. I'm wondering whether the lockdown is going to end. My business is not going well, but I'm being told to have hope. I'm being told to see things as they are. How do I find my home again? My home is my mind. How do I find my home again?
Well, I think one thing you need to do is look at what you surround yourself with and reach out to people who are working towards their goals and working towards things that you want to achieve as well, or also just working toward or reaching out to somebody who you trust, you can actually like speak to about how you're feeling. I know even last night, one of my girlfriends came over and we just had a fire outside, because we're not in as lockdown as you guys are, where we can actually have gatherings outside. And so she was like, I just need to get out of my house. And so she just came over and we had a fire in the backyard. And it was so wonderful, because you just like listened to music, and my daughter jumped on the trampoline, and they were just like, it was just such a nice reset. It was completely impromptu, but it was so great that she reached out and was like, I just need to get out of my house. I know you have a fire. It's beautiful out. Can I come over? And I was like, yes, of course. Like, you need to reach out when you are struggling, and be okay with asking for help. So many of us are not okay with asking for help. And that's something that we really need to be able to work on, is to say, like, I need help and I can't do this by myself. So I know even there's been points in my life where I've had to ask for help, and sometimes asking for help is really hard because you don't want to put people out. But really, people feel more empowered when you do ask them for help and when you do get help by them. I know I had, when I got divorced and I built my house, I couldn't build a deck. And I had one friend that was like, I'll help you build your deck. And he like came over and he built my deck for me. And it was so fantastic and wonderful. And I was so grateful. And then in return, I like did some art for him and did some work on designing for him. So you give like trades when you can't do something yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary exchange, but you can definitely give an energy exchange in like gratitude, or in doing something that you can show your gratitude for somebody who comes and helps you out, even if you can't financially pay them at that point in time. There will be some other point in time where you can help out in a different way. And so I really think that when you're really struggling, you need to ask for help and reach out to those people who you can trust, that they will genuinely be there for you and be willing to help and help you achieve your goals, and also to just get out of your rut, even if it's just for like half an hour. Have that one person where you can call where they just like, I just need you to make me laugh. Right? Like, you have to have those people that you can call and just be like, I'm really struggling right now. Can we talk for a bit until I feel okay? And that is really huge, to have somebody in your life that you can do that. Just say like, I'm struggling, please talk to me and get me out of this like mind struggle that I'm in. And if you don't have someone like that, then there's also professionals that you can reach out to as well, that can help you with that can just get you out of your head. And sometimes just getting out of our head is the biggest struggle in our lives. And that's sometimes something that's so difficult, but also recognizing when you need to get yourself out of your head and being conscious of that. And that is something that is really empowering as well, where you can step back and recognize, I'm being in my head too much. These things, I'm making this like teeny tiny little thing into a gigantic mountain. How can I reset my mind so that I recognize that it's just one tiny speck or one tiny piece of my life, where life is going to be like this, and there's so many positives around me.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I think, yeah, it's very, very important to actually learn to reach out to people, and also is very, very important not to stay in the feeling sorry club zone. Because when you reach out to people, you have to reach out to people that are going to tell you things as they are, so they can help you to actually pick yourself up. You can pick yourself up. So there are some people that when you actually tell people, they expect people to pick you up. So when you tell people, you are telling people to support you, but everything comes down to a choice. Where are you willing to actually pick yourself up? Are you willing to be where you want to be? Because like right now is coronavirus, and some people are complaining, but we are working. Some people are working, we're getting up, we're doing life. That is work for us. So Carolanne, now that Amanda is saying, I basically need to have a choice. I need to have a mindset of understanding that every problem I have to find good people to share my situation with, so they can help me. They might have resources where they can help me to pick myself up if I hit the wall. How do I share myself with the world?
I'm just thinking, I don't know that I'm the person to answer that, sharing yourself with the world, because I'm a great one for hiding. And I've been feeling this nudge to share with the world for a long time and resisting it. And I think it's recognizing that what stops you sharing. But by sharing, it's amazing how things actually do shift. And just when you go in and you hide, it can get quite, well, it is very lonely, very heavy, and I'm sure there's many people out there can recognize that. And this pandemic and lockdown has, I think, forced us to be in that isolation a lot, which doesn't help. And so you can feel very lonely, very isolated, and it's, I know there's a heaviness to actually getting up and sharing. The energy is just not there, the willingness, the motivation. And so it's just recognizing that. Again, it's becoming aware of it. And then, as Amanda says, make that choice. Just wake up and go, do I really want this? Or do I want something different? Do I want to get out of this? And make that decision to do something about it. And one very simple tool that you can do is just some tapping, emotional freedom technique. And just whatever is there for you in that moment, just write about it. Just write about it. Find some words, describe it. How is it feeling? What are your thoughts? And then just create a tapping phrase and just tap here and go, even though I'm thinking, oh, I can't get out of this, or whatever the phrase is for you, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm thinking, I really can't get out of this, I just want to hide, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I really can't get out of this, my thoughts are just so heavy, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then we just tap round the points. So there's one at the corner of the eye, and just say it, you know, oh, these thoughts, the side of the eye, these thoughts, under the eye, these thoughts, top of your, just underneath your nose there, oh, these thoughts, the chin, these thoughts, and then your collarbone, these thoughts, and then the top of the head, these thoughts. And then just breathe. And then write again. Okay, where am I at now? What am I thinking? Who could I share this with? In what way could I share this? Because yes, definitely sharing. I've found as I've moved into that more and started sharing my story, started sharing it with other people, something shifts. Something opens up. There's somebody that goes, oh, I get what you're saying. And maybe they can offer something, to a suggestion, but more often than not, it's just that listening ear. It's not always suggestions that we need, it's that listening ear. Someone who can listen, give you that space where you can just talk, be allowed to talk, because maybe there's an inner child who wasn't allowed to talk. And it's allowing that inner child to express what's there for her and what she's going through, and just getting it out. So that's just one tool. There are many other tools for helping you to get up and out and share. First key is to recognize when you're not sharing, and remember that sharing is caring. It's that way to move you forward, and actually it's powerful, very powerful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Carolanne. And you know, I think, yeah, the powerful thing is to share your story with somebody else. And when you share it, you have to own it, because you know that you are going through that. And then you have to, because when you are sharing it and you're talking to somebody who is very positive, somebody who actually wants to build you. Between that life sharing story, you will find a solution on how you can go about it. And I like the power of writing as well. I love writing. I love communicating and writing. Whenever it's something that I feel like writing, I love that. And I also love the power of prayer. Where I pray, I put it. Basically, I have my quote where I put God there, I put the problem there, I put me there. And when I'm having that quote, that means there are no feeling sorry. I'm going to have to find out how I contributed to this problem. And if I haven't contributed to this problem, find out with my feelings, why am I feeling this way? Why am I allowing myself to feel this way, the way I'm feeling? Because I have not contributed to the problem. So then it allows me to forgive myself, or it allows me to find actually a solution. And sometimes you'll be surprised how when you meditate or when you write something, because when you write something like carolanne is saying, you're communicating basically to God. I'm a Christian, I communicate to God. I don't communicate to the universe because he created the universe. So those who don't believe in God, they communicate to the universe. You will be surprised when you write everything down, when you get outside, you find somebody that actually wants to help you with that problem you were writing down without even you opening your mouth. That's how life works. So I'm going to come to you, Amanda. Now I've been told I need to do all this. I need to do all this. How do I trust the good when I hit the wall? Because no matter, everybody says when you are going through tough times, you have to trust. How do I keep trusting when everything is against me?
Well, I think you really have to look at your mindset. And when you look at your mindset, is it focused on the positive or is it focused on the negative? And if you can recognize when you are focusing on the negative and then turn it into what is positive about the situation, even if it's something as simple as like, oh, my house is so messy, I have to clean my house. Well, you have a house, you have all of these things in your house, you have cleaning supplies, you have a home, you have heating. If you have these things, you are so, so very lucky. Yet at the same time, so many of us are like, oh, this is the worst. I have to spend the day cleaning my house. When really you are so lucky compared to so many people in the world because you have a house or you have a home. And so I really think that we need to look at when can we reframe it into, wow, I'm so grateful for what I have and I'm so grateful for this situation, or what can I learn from this situation? So whenever something that you could view as negative happens in your life, instead of being like, oh, this is the worst, think of, I always reframe my mindset into what can I learn from this and how can this move me forward? Because when I change my mindset from this is the worst, why is this happening to me, to what can I learn from this and how can it move me forward? And then in turn, how will I eventually be able to help others who happen to be in this situation later on? Because that makes it really empowering. So a change is a quote unquote negative situation into a positive because it becomes a learning experience rather than a negative experience. And so I always think whenever something that I view as really tough comes into my life, I think of what can I learn from this situation? And then how is it going to help me grow to become a better person, to become a better mentor, to be able to help others more? Because when we share and when we're able to help others, we become more empowered. And I don't look at anybody who's had a really easy life. I don't look up to them. I look up to the people who have been through something really difficult and have come out the other side more empowered and more able to share and help others. Those are the people who are really empowering and inspiring. You look at like Oprah Winfrey, and she went through horrible things in her life, and yet she became this one of the most empowering women in history. And it's not because she had everything easy and everything was easy for her. It's because she came from a very difficult life, and she was able to take every single situation as a learning experience and help her move forward. And I think we really need to look at that and stop pitying ourselves and look at, how can I learn from this, and how will it help me move forward and become a better person in the end?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. We just need to understand that when we are going through something, we are not alone. So, and we just have to keep believing and keep trusting. So thank you so much for that. Carolanne, how do I trust? How do I have the mind? What does it, when you hit the wall, you have hit the wall in your life. So I'm going to put it this way. As I'm asking you a question, then you can give advice to the audience. So you have hit the wall in your life. So what lesson has it taught you? Because everything that comes in our way, it comes to teach us a lesson, but we don't know that. So what lesson have you learned in your own experience, in your own situation, when you felt like there was no hope?
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying and what Amanda was saying. It's not that these situations or something isn't being done to you. It's there for you. All of these situations are showing up for you so you can move on. And over the years, I've learned many lessons. And it is just opening up to what that lesson is in that moment. Depends on the situation and what's there. But again, it comes down to being with the situation. And for me, my biggest lesson has been about trust and patience. And I remember once, again, a long time ago, things weren't happening. I was doing a lot of clearing work, and I made the statement what I wanted and was working towards it, and it still wasn't happening. And I remember getting so frustrated and just going, what is it? What is it I'm meant to be learning here? And I just heard the word patience. And I just went, what? I got patience. I want it now. I was just so angry. But when I calmed down and I just breathed, I just did some meditation, and all of a sudden I had a phone call, and it was just the person that I needed to speak with in that moment. And I just thought, okay, I get it. Patience, trust. And so now what I find is that I can still question it, but there's always another level of patience that comes with, for me, with all of the situations that I find myself in. It's always that patience and trust. Now for you, it might be a different lesson. So it's really recognizing what is the lesson there for you to learn, and how many times does it keep coming back, and what is your reaction to it? Is it something you're going, and fighting it because what you resist persists? So again, it's coming back to acceptance and really opening up to the true lesson. And not all of us have the same lesson to learn, and for me, I think this whole situation that we found ourselves in this last year has been one of actually slowing down, because that was one of the lessons that I learned, was that the stiller I am, the more I get done. And it was like, even that is still coming back to me. But it's the quieter you are. And it's not so much the sitting still, it's the still in your mind. It's the stillness within your being. And then you suddenly find something gets done. And you find that you do it in a fraction of a second. You're not putting it off all the time. And it's the procrastination is what takes time for a job to be done, not necessarily the job itself. And so it's as I say, slowing down, being patient, trusting, and then taking the action when it needs to be taken. And you suddenly find that things just fall into place. It's like with a jigsaw puzzle, and that's something I love doing, jigsaw puzzles, and then using the metaphor that comes out of it in that moment. As I'm doing that, particular jigsaw puzzle, what is it I'm finding myself saying about it? And quite a few times I've been getting through it, and it's like, oh, there's a piece missing. There has to be a piece missing. There has to be something missing. So where in my life around the situation have I been saying, there's something missing? There's something missing. And yet when I've got to the end of the puzzle, every piece is there. So again, it's only in my head that I'm creating that stress, that worry that doesn't need to be there. So maybe where in your life are you thinking something's missing, but actually it's not. You just have to keep trusting the process, put piece by piece of the puzzle together, and then eventually it all comes together and you go, oh, there is no piece missing. Yeah. So again, it's acceptance.
Add on to what you say, because it talks of when in teaching we look at failing forward. And so one of the things that we talk about with the students is that it's okay to fail. And actually, when we do fail at something, we learn more than if it was really easy for us at the start. And the other thing that we talk about too with students, and that's really coming forward in education, is the power of yet, which means like, I can't do it yet. So it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that I'm not there yet, and that's okay. And I think that's something that is really important, is that patience piece in both of those scenarios. So failing forward is okay. You're actually going to learn more when you fail, but then take a step back and then try again. But also the power of yet, where we need to be patient with ourselves in knowing that even though we can't do something right now, there's still the possibility of it as long as I keep taking steps towards those goals.
And that's a great point, because I often, when I hear someone say, oh, I can't do that, and I'll go, yet, And so, beautiful point. And that failing forward, it's recognizing that failure is only feedback. And so you haven't completed it yet. You haven't achieved what you wanted to yet. So some great points there, Amanda. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Amanda, how do I make a commitment to myself? Basically choosing to see things differently in the experience that I'll be experiencing at that moment in my life, because I need a good mindset basically to be able to make choices. Mindset is very, very important. So how is there any ritual that you use, or is there anything that I can do to actually let my mind not work against me? Because like right now with the coronavirus, for me with my business, I've been able to actually say to my mind, listen, I'm not gonna whine and I'm not gonna complain. The business is not going well, but I'm still breathing. What else can I do to actually develop myself? So that's why we're here today. We are developing ourselves. We are leading. We are helping the community, people leading, find their own voices. So how can I actually commit to myself, choosing to see things differently if I have hit the wall?
Well, I think one thing you need to look at is what resources do you have? And then how can I use those resources to my advantage? When I was taking my master's in education technology, one thing that we watched this TED Talk in class, and in the TED Talk, there was this community that lived basically on a garbage dump in Africa. And with the power of technology from one cell phone, they learned how to transform that garbage dump into a sustainable garden, community garden area. And they were able to completely transform their entire community and empower that community into living not in poverty anymore, all from the power that they had from one cell phone, where they were able to learn so many different things about sustainable gardening, about how to make sure that they take care of their waste properly and waste management, how to ensure that they're getting access to safe water. And so just the power that we have with technology and the access to information is absolutely huge. We have never before in history been able to access tech information at the same rate that we can today. And so what we really need to be able to do now is look at how can I look at this information and critically examine which pieces of the information, because we're overloaded with information now. And so which pieces of information or which directions will help me achieve my goals. So there are so many different resources out there that are free right now. And really what you need to focus on now is, what am I going to spend my time doing? Am I going to spend my time focusing on this area, or am I going to spend my time focusing on this area? So for a while with my business, I really focused on just writing books. And so I've written 8 children's books in the last 4 years. And I wrote them myself, I illustrated them myself, but they're not really doing super great on Amazon. And one of the things that I've now started to focus on is learning how to market. And so while before my focus was all on learning how to self-publish and learning what to do to self-publish and building a website and learning all of these things, now my focus has turned on how can I spend my time learning how to market better. And so when you look at what it is that you're trying to do, I don't need to learn how to write my books better because they are good books, but what I need to do now is learn how to market myself better. And so I think you need to really look at what you're stuck in, and then what is it that you maybe need to focus on to get to your next goal, and then what resources you have access to that are going to allow you to do that. And so we are so empowered at this point in time, because you don't have to spend thousands of dollars going to university to be able to learn, which is, in the past, that's something that we had to do. And now you have access to information everywhere, and it's free. So much of it is free. And not all information that's free is good information, which is why we need to be able to look at it critically and think of and decide which specific tools am I going to use and spend my time focusing on. Because one thing that we don't have infinite amount of is time. And that's the only thing that we're not going to get back, right? Is that time is such a valuable resource. So you really have to look at what are you spending your time doing as well. So yeah, that's what I think. I think you have to look at your resources, look at your time, and figure out how best are you going to use those resources and time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. It is very, very important to actually make sure that your time is actually precious. You have to use your time wisely, and like you say, find good resources, because there's so much information you can get to help you get to where you want to go. So thank you so much for that. Carolanne, how can I build a foundation from now that I have all this information, I have everything, but now I need to get back to my feet? How can I build the foundation from the hitting wall?
I think it's you're building a foundation, you're wanting to move forward, you wanted to build your life, you wanted to build your business, from this point of where you feel maybe there isn't that same support that you had before. And so it's recognizing how you are taking the actions. What actions are you taking to move yourself forward? And this reminds me of something that happened with my grandson when he was younger, and he had his two-wheeler bike, and he had stabilizers on it. And it was when the stabilizers were taken off that he found trouble. He rode his bike with the stabilizers on easy. But when the stabilizers were taken off, he couldn't ride it. So he was attempting to do the same thing, you know, ride a bike, but he wasn't able to do it. And I watched him and I realized that his actions, he was still taking the same action as he used to when he had the stabilizers on. And that was, he used to get on the bike, put both feet on the pedals, and then go pedal, 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 pedal. Because the stabilizers balanced him. So you can imagine when the stabilizers aren't there, you put both feet on the pedals at one go, ooh, you fall sideways. So I said to him, you need to do it differently. You need to push off and then put your other foot on the pedal, and then you can pedal. So it's, what is it that's going to help you push off such that you can then keep going and build your business? There's an action that you're maybe not taking right now that you're not used to taking because you never had to do it before. So I wonder, what might that action be for you? Because it's not going to be the same as for everybody. So again, what's that action that you may be resisting taking, or maybe you're not aware of? So again, maybe have a conversation with somebody about that. Well, what action would help me push off such that I can then take the same actions, put my feet on, like putting my feet on the pedals together and pedaling and moving forward, and then take that action and see where it takes you. And yeah, I remember watching him and realizing that and thinking, oh, so that's something that's really important to recognize. Again, what is it you're attempting to do, which is what you've always done in the past, which got you, you know, success or moved you forward, but those actions aren't. It needs something before them to be able to move you forward. It's that action that will just push you off, give you that momentum, give you that energy. So really go in, ask the question, or have a chat with somebody else and say, what is the action that I need to take that will set me in motion and get me moving? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Carolanne. Amanda, is there anything you would like to add?
I just got distracted by Ella.
I don't know, my kids have been doing the same. They actually been screaming upstairs. I'm sure everyone heard them.
Ella, what is it that you think helps you when you're stuck? What do you think?
Nothing.
Nothing. Maybe talking to your mom?
No.
Talking to friends? Well, I think that what you have to do is look at what your goals are and just start taking steps each day that are going to help you get towards your goals. And whether it's just a tiny step forward, or reaching out to one person that can help you on your journey, or reading one book, or anything that's going to help you look at things in a positive light. And so I think those are the steps that you need to take to start getting yourself unstuck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Any words of encouragement, Carolanne, please?
Yeah, just have fun with it. It can get so serious and heavy. It's like, how can you make it fun? And Amanda said something earlier about laughter. And laughter is a real tonic. I've seen my dad in hospital many years ago, and it was like he wasn't there. You know, his eyes, you could see he wasn't there. And then as I was talking with him, we got to a point where he started laughing. I was saying things and he said, you're making me laugh, you know. And the more he laughed, the more he became present. And I remember a nurse going by and taking a double look at him, you know, because he was there. You could see he was present in the moment. So do something that helps make you laugh. Have fun, lighten up, you know, because it can get really heavy and serious. And as Amanda was saying, time is precious. We don't have time to waste because you can never get it back again. So make best use of it and do things that lighten your spirit. But laughter is one of the most healing tonics that you can ever have.
I'm just going to chime in on the laughter part because on Friday, I taught my students this game called Chuck the Chicken, and then, on Thursday. And then on Friday, I started a Chuck the Chicken war with the other grade 5 teacher, where I just would randomly like walk into his classroom and throw this rubber chicken into his room. Just because it was a Friday and I was exhausted and I had all the kids so hyper and like just, but you know what? That's what they're going to remember about grade 5 is they're not going to remember anything that I taught them, but they're going to remember the rubber chicken war we had with the other grade 5 teacher because they all were laughing. And now on Monday, coming back after the weekend, I have like chicken posters all over my classroom. They've been making chicken posters and taped them all over the room. It's so funny. And so just that power of laughter, if you need something to laugh about, just imagine this. Just randomly having a teacher walk into your classroom and chuck a rubber chicken in. And think about how it would make you laugh, because that's really what kept me going on Friday was the chicken war I started with the other teacher.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, girls, for everyone who is watching our video. Please hit the button and share some love if you love it. And if you're going through something, know that you have to remember that God has put you there in that place for you to actually learn something. And it might sound as painful as it is, but don't focus on the pain. Focus on what are you learning in that situation and the experience, even if it's making you uncomfortable. So make changes. You can make changes in your life. It doesn't matter how big the situation is. So if you cry out, you can make some changes. We are here on Monday to Friday on Nkositalkshows, 1 p.m. UK time. So we'll see you guys soon.
Welcome to Nkositalkshows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled with it.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Find your own voice. Bye, everyone.
All right.